Hi, I'm Tyson Franklin, and welcome to this week's episode of It's No Secret with Dr. T. With me today is Byron Dempsey. Now, he's the host of the Driven Young podcast, which explores ways to help educate and inspire the younger generation around entrepreneurship and practical life skills we are not taught in school, and there's a lot of things we're not taught in school. He's also the owner of Stream Digital Marketing, which is a company that specializes in creating social media video content for podcasters and keynote speakers, and I think anybody else who wants to create some form of video content. He is going to be able to shed some knowledge on this. So, Byron, how are you doing this morning?
Good, thanks. How are you?
I am fantastic. It's video scares me. I've got to be honest.
It scares a lot of people. There's a lot of moving parts to creating good videos.
It's one of those things that, like, I've shot a lot of videos. I did a walking challenge a few years ago. I shot a video every day for 365 days. And I shared some. So what I was walking for an hour, then I'd listen to a podcast, and then I would share my takeaway points from that podcast. So I shot a lot of videos. You think after doing it 365 days in a row, you'd be going, this is a piece of piss. I can do this easily. Now, even on day 365, when I had to shoot it, I'm like, it was still difficult. Why is that?
Is this because you're looking down the barrel of the camera, shooting a video every single day?
Yes.
Yeah, so
it was on my phone, and I was holding it in my hand.
Yeah, right. I mean, I've worked with heaps of people doing videos, and I've worked with people who they'll talk on stage in front of hundreds of people all the time. They're really great talkers, but as soon as I whack a camera down and they're looking down the barrel of the camera, they just kind of crack, and they forget what they're supposed to talk about, and they lose it. And it's, I'm sure there's some psychology behind it, but it's funny you talk about you did this consistent every day for 360 or for a year.
Yeah.
Because my whole business model is made around how to avoid doing that. And so it's more how to create the same amount of video content in a tight, way shorter amount of time.
Okay.
And that's why I like to work with podcasters and speakers, because the beautiful thing about that is if you're doing a 40-minute podcast or you're on stage for an hour doing a 1-hour talk, if you record that, you can then create 10, 15 videos out of that, and that's your next video content for the next 2 months.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So you don't have to sit in front of a camera, you don't have to write a script, you don't have to, refine the script and then memorize it, have a teleprompter. You just leverage the stuff you're already doing. And it also comes out better because it's more natural. Because on a podcast, you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
That you can get some really good content. Same as when you're on stage, it's probably going to be, the peak of your quality content when you're speaking in front of a room of potential clients, or just, doing a talk.
So it's like when I'll do audio snippets sometimes from a podcast.
Yeah,
you've got a 45-minute podcast that you do. You can take these little audiograms from it, which are key messages. So you're saying you can do the same with if someone's on stage doing a presentation, you can record that and take snippets from that, and that can be the content for months.
Yeah, right. And podcasters and keynote speakers are the two ideal. The way I see it, podcast is even more ideal because they're doing one, normally once every week or every month. So they've got consistent videos coming in. It also means, like a lot of my clients, I'll say to them, just record with your phone, because we just got to get started. And you can record with your phone because, number one, the quality is going to be great, especially for social media.
Yeah.
And number two, you're already recording the audio separately, so you don't have to worry about audio. So video can be, if you haven't done video before, audio can actually be one of the hardest parts, because you've got to have the mic. Especially if you're speaking on stage, you've got to have a lapel mic. It's got to be feeding into the camera at the right settings. It's got to be attached correctly. So if you're doing that yourself and you've got no experience, it can be a bit scary. But for someone who's already doing a podcast, if you just get your iPhone out, get a $10 tripod off Amazon, you can start recording it straight away. And especially, audiograms have kind of come and have died quite a bit from what I've seen. They came real quick and everyone was picking them up. And now they don't get as much traction.
Okay. So you're saying, like, I'm sitting here with you now, and I'm having this conversation with you. You're saying I should be recording the screen while I'm doing it?
Yeah, I mean...
Like, because we're talking on Zoom, so I should record the screen. Or you're saying I should record the screen and also have my phone hooked up on a little tripod thing here that's recording me talking?
It depends how far you want to go. I mean, for me, most of my interviews are in person, so I just record in person.
Oh, is this your podcast interviews?
So I record my podcast interviews in person.
Okay. Yeah.
I've done a few over Zoom, and I have recorded it, and I have created some videos over Zoom where we just switch between them, which is still, I think, more effective than an audiogram, just because it gives something for people to watch.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that works quite well. But yeah, you could also set up an external camera. One of my clients, he has a podcast. He does a lot of speaking. I don't know if you know Harvey Penny.
Oh, I know the name, but I haven't met the person.
So he's a really nice guy, but he's got a podcast called Business for Good, where he interviews people about how they're doing more than just making money in their business and actually making an impact. And so often he'll just record just a guest, or his assistant who walks with him has a camera. So she just records everything he does. They send that to me and my team, and we go through and just splice it up into little highlights. And that, generates engagement. It keeps you on the front of mind. So if you're putting out content with someone who's not, even if people aren't engaging with a lot, they're just constantly seeing you on their feed. So when they do need you, you're the first person they think of.
Yeah.
It also generates traffic to your podcast, or, positions you as an expert because you're speaking on stage. So a lot of the benefits of video aren't as tangible as a lot of people think. They think, oh, I'm getting no views, I'm not getting any engagement. It's not working. And that's kind of right to a degree, because obviously more views, more engagement is better. But just by putting out video content, you'll start to see results kind of slowly come in.
Okay, so say somebody who does a bit of public speaking, they could quite easily, say, have an iPhone, put it in the pocket with a lapel mic and record that conversation. And I've actually used some of those recordings on some of my podcasts where I did a talk a year and a half ago in Powell River in British Columbia to the Chamber of Commerce. And it was on the 6 pillars of marketing. I thought, I'm going to record this just so I can listen back to it and just see if any of my jokes, how my jokes translated from Australia to Canada. But after I listened to it, I went, the audio quality on that, not as good as when I'm recording here at home.
Yes.
But it was probably 85%. And I thought, as long as I pre-frame this when I put the episode out, that this is a live recording, it should be fine. But I also had my wife had her phone hooked up, and she was doing some video at the same time. So somebody could have one video just recording the image, another one doing the audio. They can send that to you, and you can put that together.
Yeah,
and make it special.
If you've got a 40-minute clip of audio and a 40-minute clip of video, that's easy to sync up.
Yeah,
it takes a minute. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, once again, you need a second person for that scenario, or you could set up a second camera. It is difficult to film yourself as a speaker. I would say probably don't bother trying to film yourself. I've done it once or twice, and I struggle when I've been doing video for years. So if you have someone, that'd be good. That's why podcasting is easier, because you're going to be in a room or like this. The lighting's going to be the same.
Yeah.
You just set up a camera on a tripod. Audio's covered. So it's a bit easier. But speaking also positions you differently because you're on stage. So it's like, oh, this guy must know what he's talking about.
I've seen some other people do podcasts where they've had a number of people in a room, and that's the only way they do their podcast as well, is they'll all be in one room, and they've got a couple of cameras hooked up from different angles. They record the whole thing. And I think they're special when they put them together like that. Like I like doing this, like over Zoom. We're not in the same town, but I do like podcasts where the guests actually come into that room and they have that little bit of interaction with each other.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think anyone would ever say Zoom episodes sound better, right? But I mean, you're limited by, as you mentioned, in different cities, different towns. It's like I either interview you or I can't interview you because you're not in Sydney, in my case. So I have interviewed a few people over Zoom, but I'll wait months. If someone's in a different country and they come into Sydney, I'll wait months for them to get to Sydney and do it in person rather than do it over Zoom.
Oh, right. Okay.
Because and the same thing goes for, the benefits. I had a woman, my last episode, we spoke for 45 minutes before the interview started, just on the couch, just bouncing ideas and stuff. Yeah. So you build a whole relationship with them. And then we went to the studio because I just have them sit on the couch to just bounce some ideas. And then we go into the studio, lights, camera, action, and we record the podcast. And then we'll normally talk for another 10, 20 minutes, 30 minutes afterwards. So it's like, you just build really good connections in person.
So if somebody was listening to this and they're into podcasting, and you said you've got a studio where you actually do the video itself, what would you suggest other people if they don't have the benefit of having a studio? Like I did a couple of episodes I've done with the people in front of me here in Cairns. I've done an episode where we were sitting in a park, and I took my record, and I really, really enjoyed that episode. That was a lot of fun. But I've gone to a whiskey bar and did a podcast in there, went to a gin distillery. And when I went to the whiskey bar, I actually did take the video camera and I hooked it up and I recorded the whole thing. And in general, it all turned out well, except just where the lighting was above my head, it looked like I had a halo the whole time.
Yes, that's called. They call that. We get raccoon eyes. It's where it's really unflattering lighting. Like if you're in a bathroom,
It was
you feel it's
bad.
bad. That's because it's just light coming down, which creates this like line under your eyes, and you just kind of look old, and it's like
Yeah. Look,
just not flattering.
like I do this morning. Uh,
So yeah, I mean, but I've never. I mean, except for in my own studio, I've never had control of lighting when I've done because I've done podcasts on the go as well. Like I live. The reason I can afford to have my studio is just a third room in my apartment that I've set up, and the reason I can afford that is because I'm not in the city, so it's a lot cheaper. But it also means it's a bit more inconvenient. People have to come out to see me, so it can be quite a little bit of friction. A little bit, most of the times not, but so it is quite difficult to get people out sometimes.
But if people want to come on your show, then they're going to make the effort to actually do that.
Exactly, but. That's why the other cool thing about videos is, and if you were doing the strategy for your podcast, this is what I do for myself. I offer that as part of, I send them a PDF. It's like, when you come on my podcast, not only do you get access to a younger generation and get to talk, like provide value, but you also get 6 videos that I create for myself. I'll give you all those. And I normally charge about $1,500 to do a half-day shoot with someone and create videos. So I give them videos that they can use to promote for their brand, and people really love that. So that's a great kind of little incentive. And if you're doing this video strategy on your podcast, you can say to your guests, just a little sweetener. Yeah, after every episode, we create videos and I'll give them to you. And I'll be like, oh, fantastic.
And you give that to them for free?
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing it for myself, so I might as well give it to them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then it's cross-promotion. So they put it on theirs. It sends more traffic to my podcast. So it's kind of this whole, Gary V video kind of model.
Yeah.
Just you don't have to have a dedicated full-time person following around with a camera.
So how do other people access what you do then? So if I was a business owner and I'm in Sydney, or I'm a public speaker and I'm in Sydney, do you go out and film them talking and then put it all together?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, once again, one of my clients, Harvey, he's actually his assistant, or his, I'm not sure what an official role is, but she's an assistant, kind of 2IC manager sort of person.
Yeah.
I just sent her some advice for camera equipment. I said, get this camera, get this microphone, about $1,000 or so. And now she just records everything he does. And they send me the footage. So it's great for me. I don't have to do any recording. And we just have a Dropbox folder, well, Google Drive folder now, where they just upload the footage and my team will just go through every month and cut it up. And in some cases, I don't have to work with people in Sydney. Example for the podcaster, my ideal client, they have the budget, or a lot of my ideal clients are already filming their podcasts. You'd be amazed how many people are filming their podcast but aren't doing the strategy.
Yeah.
So they've got the camera set up, but then they don't have the team or the systems to create those little snippets, because it's a lot of work, especially once you add 2 cameras. You've got to add a multicam and cut between the angles.
That's the part where I've heard when people who aren't nervous on camera. Oh, I wouldn't say I'm nervous on camera. Like you put a camera in front of me, I don't go wobbly at the knees anymore or sweat. Sure, sweat profusely. But it's one of those things. I think what happens is the back of my mind, it's not that I'm uncomfortable in front of the camera. I know that as soon as I press record and I press stop, I know how much work is involved afterwards.
Yes.
And my subconscious is going, you dumb bastard. Do you know what you've just done? You've just created X amount of work for yourself. And I think that's the anxiety of doing it. It's not the video, because I've been at events and somebody says, we need someone to do just an audio, do a video testimonial for 60 seconds. I go, throw it in front of me. And I just do it.
Because you don't have to do anything afterwards.
Because as soon as they press stop, I walk away. My job is done. And then they send me a copy of the video.
Yeah.
And I go, oh, wow, that seemed pretty simple. But when I go to do it, it just, it's like a marathon.
And I know that's a pain point for people. That's why I offer like an all-in-one service. So the second they finish the podcast, the second it's uploaded to the Dropbox, me and my team will take care of everything. We'll even upload it to the social media if they want. We'll schedule the content. Yeah. So just trying to remove them. Because as a business owner, you shouldn't be doing your own podcast editing. You shouldn't be doing your own video editing. You shouldn't be doing any of that stuff, really. You should just be focusing on growing the business. And you don't want to get stuck in that, especially when it's not your skill, because you're going to take 10 times longer because you got to figure it all out. Yeah. And so, like, same with me, I outsource. Obviously, we do videos, so I don't outsource. Well, I do outsource that to my team, but I outsource other stuff that I don't want to have to focus on. When
it comes to editing the podcast, the audio part, I actually do that myself because I just love doing it.
Yeah, if you love doing it. Oh, 100%. And like, I'm my ideal listener for my podcast, right? Yeah. Like this podcast, I ideally would listen to this if someone else had created it. because it's aimed for kind of late high school, early uni, 16 to
And that's
20,
called Driven
23.
Young.
That's it, yeah. And so, as you mentioned in the intro, that's helping inspire and educate the younger generation with practical life skills we don't learn in school. So I just, my kind of life mission, or right now, my goal is to help change Australia's education system. And I'm just starting that off with the podcast.
Yeah.
So I want to grow that over the years and start creating events and partnerships. And so, yeah, that's pretty new. I've filmed about 20 episodes, but same with what we were just saying. I started off editing every episode. I now edit the episode and then outsource the video part to my team because it takes ages to do videos. But I do all the audio. So I re-listen to every episode, and I can tell you, episode 4, about 20 minutes in, I know we start talking about networking when you're in uni. I know, because I've listened to each episode, and it just kind of reaffirms in your brain.
Yeah.
100% agree with the fact that editing your own podcast can be quite beneficial, or at least listening back to it again.
I definitely, because I know some people that will have a guest come on the show, they press record, as soon as they press stop, it's uploaded, and they have absolutely nothing to do with that podcast episode again. And I don't think I've had an episode where I haven't edited it, or maybe one or two, that I haven't afterwards gone, oh, that was so good. I picked up, if I hadn't had that conversation, I would, I'm better for that conversation. And it's when I pick up more in the second time when I'm doing the editing.
And that's the way it should be, because if you're starting a podcast, it should be because you want to learn and you want to, it shouldn't, even though there's so many benefits of podcasts, like I could talk a whole episode on just the benefits of podcasting, but the core of it should be you want to learn and you want to provide value. And so if you're doing that, and then you should be learning every single time you re-listen to it. And so I think there's nothing wrong with outsourcing the whole thing. It's, if you've got the system to do that, it's really good. But I do agree, like the reason I haven't outsourced the actual editing of the podcast, even though I could, is because I really enjoy re-listening to it, because you just pick up a lot more, as you mentioned.
So one of the things, when I was asking for like talking points that we could discuss, and one was video marketing, and you were talking about shooting the video while if you're doing public speaking, or just shooting video in general. So if I was doing a workshop, for example, and I had that recorded, quite easily someone could send that information to you as well, and you could just break that up into little audio snippets and make it a little bit better as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, what we do is we grab a 40-minute, let's say a workshop, 9 minutes or so, let's say however long it is, it doesn't matter. So we'll go through for starters and we'll mark all the potential little 1, 2, 3 minute snippets that look like they could be good, or the client can do it if they want to do it. It does take, it's a 90-minute thing, so it's going to take probably double that length to do that. So it is quite time consuming. But then we'll go through, we'll cut them up, and then we reformat them so they're like a rectangle or a square.
Yeah.
So they suit social media. We'll add a top title, we'll add subtitles, we'll add music, we'll chuck on some, B-roll and some cutaways over top of it to try and make it more engaging. And just spice it up so it's not just a plain video. And then you can add an intro, you can add an outro, you add a call to action at the end. It all kind of varies depending on what the goal is. But yeah, overall, you just sort of reformat it, title, subtitle, music, and it should be good. Should be good to go. Subtitles are important. I think a lot of people know that now. It's 85% of videos on Facebook and Instagram are consumed without audio. So, and the way we do it, it doesn't take long to add subtitles now with the tools we use. So you'd be silly not to do it. You're just kind of missing out on a huge opportunity. I
find some of the subtitle programs is they tend to pick up Americans really well, and Australians, it's almost like they shake their head at us.
Australia can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Stuff like what are the words? The Z's and the S's. We have a lot of swap words with Z's and S's. I personally, for my podcast, I don't really care. Like, I'm not that nitpicky if I have a Z or an S. Like, if someone in the comments, like, I really don't care. I do have clients who are a lot more high standard than me, and it can be quite stressful because they won't tolerate any spelling mistakes. And so we've got to go through and make sure that there are, and I wouldn't consider a Z and an S a spelling mistake because it's still the word spelled correctly. It's just not in the Australian.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that can be annoying. But if anyone out there, I use rev.com. But, so you get a file and you drag and drop that into the editing software, and you can just drop the whole thing on top of the clip and it just syncs it automatically, which is fantastic. You can either get, there's two options. You can get the human typed out, which is $1 a minute, or you can get the computer AI, which is 10 cents a minute. So I pay for the $1 a minute because like I don't want to. It is a lot better.
Yeah.
They will make almost no mistakes. The only mistakes I'll make sometimes is like a name, or as I mentioned, like color, COLOR instead of COLOUR. But the AI, you've really got to spend probably 10 minutes on a video going through it, and it's just like.
Yeah, I did an AI one, and the guy was Irish, and and the AI just. I'm just looking at it going, I don't recognise any of the words you've got there. It was so bad.
So Rev claim 85% accuracy on AI and 99% accuracy on human. And 85% sounds pretty good, but when you break that down by the math, if you've got, 2-minute video, that's going to be like, probably 1,000 words. If you're losing 15%, that's a lot of work to go through, and you don't know where that 15% is. So that's why I just do the human version. So that's a good little tool. There's other tools out there like Pick Me. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but if you really don't have much of a budget and you want to start doing video, PickMe, or if you just Google Pick Me, you can send them a video and they'll subtitle it. They'll add a title, but that has to be like a 2-minute video. They won't go through and find all the best bits.
Okay, you've got to provide the video for them to go through,
which is half the work. So you're doing half the work if you're doing that. So, yeah, I've also worked, I think, as we spoke before. So Glenn Carlson, I do all of his videos. That's how I started out doing videos, and that wasn't the strategy I mentioned. That was, we used to shoot. I had my camera. He'd look down the barrel of the camera, and we'd do videos. We've done over like.
Well, that's what I saw on the Facebook page. When I was on your Facebook page, that was the image in the header. Was Glenn Carlson standing there, and you've got your camera.
Oh yeah, that's just my personal Facebook page. That's my camera photo. Yeah, that's quite old. So yeah, that's how I started out, right? But doing that strategy, when I first started out, my KPIs were 4 videos a week.
Okay, yeah.
Now I'll do 4 videos in 2 hours now. And with my team, I don't even do that much editing now.
Yeah.
Using this long form strategy where you're taking a 40-minute clip and cutting it up. It's so much more efficient, especially if you're on a budget. But if you've got the budget to hire a full-time videographer like Gary Vee, like Glenn did, like Kerwin Ray sort of thing, then go for it. But you've got to be doing quite well to pay someone full-time to follow you around.
Yeah, I think the average person that listens to this show does not have a full-time videographer walking around. Even though my 15-year-old daughter, sometimes I feel like I have a personal videographer
yeah, that's right.
Follow me around that her phone's always out and wants me to do TikToks and just other videos with her.
Yeah. So you don't actually need a full-time videographer. You can get some kid like me. I was 18 when I started. You can get some 18-year-old kid for a few $100 a week. But yeah, I just love this long-form strategy. Highly recommend it.
Okay, so your business is Stream Digital Marketing.
Yes.
And I suppose it's just going to be streamdigitalmarketing.com.au.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, it's easy to find. So, and then you've got how to leverage this long term, like getting the content out there. So you've got, so the video's done, and and somebody's had some video, got some audio, they've sent it to you, you've jazzed it up and made it look great. What do they do with it then?
Yes, so I have a few different packages. The package I like to promote is the one where we do it for you, because the problem with video is you can't schedule it on most tools. So if you've got like a Buffer or any social media scheduling tools, Hootsuite, all that sort of stuff, they're great, but they're not good for video. So LinkedIn period, you can't schedule it. As of right now, what date is it for your listeners? So 4th of March, 2020.
Yeah.
As we're talking right now, we cannot schedule LinkedIn content. So you need to have a VA, ideally, who posts that for you, or you can do it yourself. So that means every day or every 2 days, however often you want to post, you've got to post that manually. Facebook, you can use video. Instagram, you can schedule video, but where it gets tricky is IGTV and Instagram. So you're aware of the difference?
Yeah.
So yeah, for your listeners out there, the difference between IGTV, Instagram TV, and Instagram is you can't post a video over 60 seconds on Instagram. It has to go to IGTV. And so what happens is IGTV is a little, like YouTube in your profile, but you can link the videos to your page. So it is just like a normal post. But those have to be formatted differently. So a normal video, you'll format 1080 by 1350, and that's like a rectangle length on Instagram.
Yeah.
And that'll fill up most of the screen. But IGTV has to be like a full full phone width, so a full rectangle, which is 1080 by 1920.
Okay, so it is a completely different
Yeah,
format.
and so when for my clients, for myself, we actually give them 2 copies of each video. We give them one formatted for Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, and then we give them a second copy for any of the videos over 60 seconds that are formatted for IGTV. And as of right now, you cannot schedule IGTV through any platform except Facebook itself.
Okay.
So Facebook, IGTV's they haven't released the API to Hootsuite and all that. So the only way to schedule IGTV is through the Facebook Creator Studio. So if you just go onto your Facebook page and up the top, you'll see Creator Studio. You can click on that, and that's where you can upload and schedule all your content. And
Okay.
I've actually got a free guide if people are interested.
Oh yeah, give the info.
Yeah, so that's just, I've got everything I've spoken about. I give like 6 different PDFs of each step: how to schedule content, how to create content, how to break it all up. So I'll give you the link. You can put in your show notes. But if you find me on LinkedIn, it's there, and that's just stream.com.au/6 steps.
Oh, it's easy to remember as well.
Yeah, so I mean, I got a little bit technical there. I know this is a marketing podcast, and that's the reason I went technical. But it's just it's a bit of a bitch, to be honest. IGTV, it causes a lot of. The problem I find is if I give people video content, they'll almost never post all of it. So it's like you're spending money to create content, and you're putting all this time to create content, but you're not even posting it.
I know, and I've got a lot of video content that I've done, that I've created, and I did a workshop a month or so ago, and had the whole thing recorded. This was a full day workshop.
Yeah, great.
And I've got all these video testimonials of people afterwards telling me that the workshop was awesome, that they loved it. I haven't done anything with it yet.
And that's the problem, right? And
I keep looking at it going, it's that voice in the back of my head again going, there's so much work involved to actually put that together. So you would be able to jazz it up for me.
Yeah, I mean, if you sent through a whole workshop. I mean, how long's the workshop?
It was probably about 6 hours of me talking.
I mean, 6 hours, that's enough content for the year, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't really want, because it's all going to be the same shot, the same workshop. It looks better if you're speaking here than you're doing a podcast and you're speaking here.
Yeah.
So you've got a variety of content.
Well, the good part is it's been broken up into, like, as I was doing the talk, because I spoke to the video guy beforehand, and I said to him, as I do each section, you're going to see the slide come up with a certain color. That's telling you that I'm about to start a whole new subject. So therefore, we were able to break the day up into about 14 or 15 different segments. So I could easily take one and say, okay, do something with that, or do something just with the testimonials.
Yeah, exactly. You could do a lot with that footage. 6-hour workshop, you can milk it for so much content. I probably wouldn't do the whole 6 hours just because, once again, just be like, what's the most valuable segment that I would like to put out, and be like, let's take this 45-minute clip. But yeah, absolutely. And the key with video is that you got to be consistent. Like, so I do offer a service. I don't push it as much now, but I've done it a bunch of times where I'll have people come out to me, or I'll go out to them. We'll spend 2 hours, shoot 10 videos. I'll splice them up, edit them up, give it to them, and I'll post on their social media. But that's it. Then they post. Honestly, half the time they don't even post all the videos. They'll just post a few, and then that's kind of it. And I say, a hack people should be using is, all the big guys use this. Just repost content. Like, especially Facebook and Instagram, like 10% of your followers are going to see like a single post.
Yeah.
So you could post the same post, once every week, and people aren't going to get annoyed. You're not that special. Like, people don't follow you that closely. So I repost content all the time. So 10 videos, you could repost that. I mean, I probably want a bit more than that. I get to the point with my clients, like, we've got 50 or 60 videos. They'll just post those videos. You could post one video. If you're posting a video every day, they're not going to see that video for another 60 days.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a lot of videos.
And when you were saying you were posting stuff for people, because I've heard that when you use like Hootsuite, Social Bee, and it's scheduled to get posted, that they don't actually do as well as when you just post it yourself.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I think it's a bit of a rumor. I don't actually use any of those. I just use the inbuilt systems.
Yeah.
So I use Facebook's inbuilt scheduling tool and Facebook and Instagram's inbuilt scheduling tool, because that's the only way to schedule IGTV, and you just keep it neat. LinkedIn, once again, has to be done manually. So my VA has a system where a certain time. She's got everything ready. She'll just copy and paste it, upload it for the client's behalf. And the client's already confirmed it. So yeah, if that is true, it doesn't affect me and my clients because we use Facebook's built-in tools and Instagram's built-in tools.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit of a rumor, to be honest. They all claim it's not true. They all show studies that have been done and the engagement is the same. But yeah, the thing is, if you're going to use that as an excuse to not use a scheduling tool, you're probably not going to post as many.
Yeah.
Because I don't have the discipline to post every single day. Like, that's just so much work. Scheduling is just you just do it all at once and let it go for the next 2 weeks or the next month, and then you come back. I don't even do that. I hate scheduling content. My VA does it. It drives me nuts. It's so boring.
Yeah. Well, I was using Social Bee and I was setting it up. And while I was actually setting it up, I hadn't quite figured out how it all worked. And I don't know what button I pushed. But anyway, this one post got posted every day for 7 days. And it was like getting posted every 3 hours. Okay,
yeah, that's a bit too much reposting.
Yeah, and I didn't even realize it was happening. And then all of a sudden, this particular podcast episode was getting a lot of traction. And I'm going, wow, this one just out of the blue that I did so many months ago is getting all this traction. And then all of a sudden, I'm going, oh, hell, why is this thing being posted so many times? And that was why, because it was getting posted.
Yeah, well, it works, right?
But it did work. And it made me realize, okay, posting more often works, but just don't post the same thing 24 times.
Yes.
In 7 days.
When I say repost, obviously not to that degree, but you could repost the same video every week, honestly, and people wouldn't notice. I wouldn't do it to that degree. I normally wait at least a few weeks in between.
Oh yeah, well, it was accidental.
Once you've got your built up content, you just, you can just keep it also means it's like a compounding effect. So once you've got 10 videos, if you start off doing a video a day, once you get 10 videos, you can do one video every 2 days.
Yeah.
Once you get 20, you could do one every 3. Once you get 30, you could do one every 4, etc. But you're actually putting out more content because you're reposting. So, and you can actually see a view, if you go to like Gary Vee and you hover over his like view count on his videos, it'll say this video has been reposted 20 times.
Oh, right. Okay.
I've seen videos he's posted over 30 times over like the past few years. And so that same with Kerwin, like they post videos 10, 20, 30 times. They'll repost videos.
So if somebody's listening to this now, where should they start? If somebody's listening to this and going, yeah, okay, I agree. Got to do video, got to do more of it, got to get it out there. Where should they start?
Yeah, I definitely download I've got a free lead magnet. We're talking marketing. I'll just use a lead magnet. So it's free. Obviously, it costs your email and your name. That's it. And everything I've just said is in detail. So I actually even I show you how you can hire your own video editor, how you can outsource this, the systems I use. So if you're listening to what I'm saying and you want to do it, that's the first stage. Definitely have a look at that lead magnet. And otherwise, I think the second thing is you just got to start. So if you've got a podcast, just get into the habit of go to Amazon, search phone tripod. You'll get like you don't need a good tripod because it just needs to sit still. Get a cheap tripod. It'll come with like a little mount that you can just lock your phone in and then hit record and send it to an editor and see if they can do anything. Send them a few examples of.
So is this even if you're doing just a solo show? Just record yourself doing a solo show in front of the microphone like I am now, and you look at the camera every now and then and just 100%. Let it rip.
100%. That'd be great. And it's just good because then you start building a presence online. You start being front of mind. It generates more traffic to your podcast. You don't have to sit. You've now removed that stress because every businessman has a stress of I should be putting out content, but it's so much work, it's so much time.
Yeah.
So you don't have to write a script. Or if you're doing a solo podcast, you've already written the script and you're just recording it.
Pretty much. So with your podcast itself, with Driven Young, is that a weekly show at the moment?
Yeah, so I try post weekly, but I'm still pretty fresh. Like it's a pretty new podcast. I haven't done any hardcore marketing yet. Right now, I'm just focusing on getting my business kind of streamlined. So I've got a bit more time to go all in on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I want to start speaking at schools and I want to start building some partnerships. So yeah, right now it's, every 1 or 2 weeks. I've got like 8 in the pipeline or 9 in the pipeline. So, but I use 3 cameras for my podcast. So I've got one on the guest, one on me, and one wide camera. So it does mean post-production is a lot more.
Okay. And the videos are on your website? Have you got the videos on YouTube?
Instagram. Oh, actually, I use YouTube strategy as well. So that's a whole other thing. But I Instagram, if you just search Driven Young Podcast, you can see my entire strategy. So you can see the video, everything I've just talked about.
Oh, cool.
You can see all the videos. you'll see like there'll be like 8 videos of the same person. So I've gotten 14 videos from one person before. It's probably overkill, and now I only do 5 or 6. But you can get so much content, and then you could then take each video and you could turn that into a blog post.
Yeah, and the good part, like you're saying, because you're doing these shorter videos, and the same, like my attention span is
Nothing.
It's not very good at all. I'll sit there in front of my computer and go, I'm going to do this. No distractions. I'm going to do this. And then half an hour later, I'm watching a cat play the piano.
Oh, 100%.
And I'm just like, how did I end up here again? I go, okay, get focused. I'm going to do this. Half an hour later, I'm doing something else. So short videos are good. I love short videos that just straight to the point, tell me something that I can walk away with knowing more than when I got there.
Exactly. And I mean, ideal length, 30 seconds is probably, it depends on the topic. I normally do anywhere from 45 seconds to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
That's my kind of sweet spot. But you can do up to 4 minutes probably on Instagram. I mean, you're pushing it. Depends on the quality. I upload to YouTube as well. I try to, just because I haven't got any traction there, but I want to start using it. But definitely check out my podcast. You can on Instagram. That's the easiest spot because you can just scroll through and you can see all the videos that I create and see how I use this strategy. So Driven Young podcast, or search Byron Dempsey on any platform, and I've got links to it. So yeah, I highly recommend checking that out if you're kind of curious how I do it. Also, Glenn, he's another great example. Gary, Kerwin, these guys are all doing video. Kerwin and Gary all do this podcast strategy themselves, combine the speaking strategy and just doing down the barrel of the camera.
Well, they all seem to be doing it very well, so it must work.
Yes. And I mean, the strategies go on, but once you've got video views on Facebook and Instagram, you can retarget to those video views and provide ads to them. So you're only putting ads in front of people who have seen your content before, so they're not cold.
Yeah.
So,
no, I like the concept, and I think anyone that's listening to this now, if they've got the ability to shoot the video, then they should just do it.
I think everyone has the ability to shoot video now.
Yeah.
It's not, if you're saying that, you're making excuses, because I just said all you need is a phone and a tripod. And you don't even need a tripod if you can sit your phone on your desk. And most people have a DSLR of some sort. You can use that. And especially if you're podcasting, audio is already covered. So, but you can get like a Rode, as you mentioned, like a Rode lapel that goes into your phone for like $20 and stuff. And there's Kickstarter project I've seen where you can just clip it on wirelessly and that'll give you audio.
Yeah, well, I bought a Hey mic.
Oh yeah, Hey mic. That's a popular one.
Clip it on, and from like
cheap, isn't it?
15 meters away, you can have your phone set up, and you come walking into a room talking. That the room's empty, but they can hear your voice, and then you walk in, and it's perfect. So there's so many cool things out there that you can use these days. Yeah,
so I don't really see not doing video as like if you want to do it, you can do it. Really, the thing is you just don't have time, or you don't have the money, or it's just not a high enough priority for you, and that's fine. Like I wouldn't recommend a video. Wouldn't recommend it to anyone who's not got a solid business and it's not going well.
Yeah.
Like you should have a solid business with a marketing funnel. You should have, partnerships, referrals, online ads and stuff. Everything kind of, if you've got a business that's doing well, now you can put time and effort into creating really good quality content onto social media. But a lot of people will just think that's how they generate leads straight away, and they'll put all their time and effort into that. But when really it shouldn't be a number one priority. It's more of like a bonus once the business is going well, and it will generate you a lot more leads.
No, I reckon that's fantastic. So Byron, I want to thank you for coming on It's No Secret with Dr. T, sharing your knowledge on a bit of it's not behind the scenes of video marketing, but just explain to people how and why they should actually be using it. Do you have any final points you want to say before we wrap up?
Sure. LinkedIn, there's a huge opportunity right now. It's where I'm putting, like, I get way more engagement on LinkedIn than any other platform. I think that's how we met.
Yeah, it was.
So there you go. And so LinkedIn, I've had so many interviews coming through LinkedIn and just meeting other podcasters, because podcasters always want to help each other out. So yeah, definitely if you're going to start putting out content and video content, I'd really put a lot of effort into LinkedIn.
No, that's a great final tip. So Byron, thank you very much for coming on It's No Secret with Dr. T.
My pleasure.
Well, I hope you enjoyed listening to Byron Dempsey today from Stream Digital Marketing. And I think it's really important when you're shooting videos, as you said, to try and take that content and break it up into as many small parts as you can. And one video can be used in multiple ways. And a 40-minute talk or presentation that you've done, if that happens to be recorded, one, it comes across being quite natural, but you can take snippets of that and use it in many different ways. So I think that was a really, really important takeaway from this particular episode. Plus, there's a ton of other information. And if you liked this particular episode, check out episode 173 as well. I had Jeff Anderson on, and it was titled Making Videos to Boost Business. And Jeff spoke a lot about videos and shooting really good videos as well. And if you happen to go over to the Podiatry Legends podcast on episode 13, Diane Ashcroft is talking about lessons learnt from shooting over 300 videos on YouTube. So I do think video is a really important part of marketing. And even though I've probably been pretty slack myself when it comes to putting videos together, I do actually have a lot of video content, and I think I will pull my finger out and start using my video a little bit more. Before I go, just want to get a shout out to my own book. If you haven't read a copy of It's No Secret There's Money in Small Business, go and check it out. You can order a copy from our website. Just go to tysonfranklin.com. There's information there. Or if you live overseas, go to Amazon or wherever you like to purchase your books from. So that's it for me this week. Look after yourself, look after your family, and I will talk to you again next week. Bye for now.